Hey everyone. So this is going to be probably a little more serious than some of my other ones, and not down, but more of a reality check. Um, as many of you know, with many of the things that have been going on in our country for especially over the last year and a half, but going beyond that, the last 6 or 7 years and going beyond that, probably the entire history of this country. Um, and even before that. Um, there have been issues uh, in this country about race, and recent events have ratcheted up the number of conversations about race and racism and privilege and legacies of slavery and all manners of other things, a lot more than they have been in the past, which frankly I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I think there's something to be said for people taking a good, honest look at what is happening in our country, what has been happening in our country, and what part do they play in it, actively or passively. So, frankly, I'm kind of glad that these conversations are happening. But at least one of the byproducts in my personal life of these conversations happening is that a lot more of them are happening with me, for better or for worse. A lot of people seem to have designated me as the safe black guy, or the knowledgeable black guy, or the empathetic black guy that they can have these conversations with and get a deeper understanding of things from their original position. And I'm the type that I'm willing to talk about anything, as long as it's civil. I'm willing to discuss pretty much any topic, but it's exhausting. It's flat out exhausting. I know people want answers. A lot of people, the events of particularly the last year, but going further back, it's new to them. Particularly in my generation and later, they believed that we were in this new world where those issues were no longer American issues. They believed that we were past all that, and recent events have come to show us that no, we're really not. And so a lot of people are finding themselves reevaluating their worldview, and trying to check certain assumptions, beliefs that they've had to see where they fit, and are they helping or are they hurting the cause of equality, civil rights, etc. And I have had a lot of these conversations, especially in the last 3 weeks, a lot of them. And it's just exhausting. It's really exhausting. And I look and I go, can't you bring this to someone else? Isn't there someone else you can have these conversations with? And when I thought about it, I realized that quite a few of them honestly don't have other black friends. Or if they know other black people from their neighborhood, from their work, they just haven't gotten close enough to them to feel comfortable having that conversation with them. And that's so sad. It's just sad. I'm going to go out and be just as um, fanciful as they were and saying, I thought we were at least a little further along than that. But the reality is still that, you know what? There still aren't nearly enough relationships that cross those racial, ethnic boundaries to where people have other perspectives, people have other people's experiences to be able to bounce their own beliefs, perspectives, and experiences off of. But the other thing that's really, and I mean really exhausting in these conversations, almost all of them, almost all of them, is that these individuals, and all of them are good people. Don't think I'm, uh, downplaying any of them. All of them are good people, but in their experience, they don't see me as black. They don't see me as being part of the population that these horrible things happen to. Somehow, apparently, I'm just a very tan white or Asian or Hispanic person in their perception. Because, well, he's Kevin. He's not one of them. And it's deflating every single time that I hear it. It's discouraging every single time that I hear it. Because while in one sense it means that there's a level of acceptance enough that they've made me part of, however they define their tribe. But at the same point, their perspective has basically decimated my tribe. And while the goal is to get rid of all of these different tribes, the different races, the different ethnicities, the different what have yous, unless it's something that somebody chooses. You want to choose to be a part of a particular tribe, fine, great, go be happy and do that. But to get rid of these from birth tribes that can't be changed, that is the goal, hopefully. But in the meantime, I can't separate myself from the tribe that this country now calls African American or black. People could see that from 100 yards away. Every application I've ever had to fill out, from employment to education to something with the government, usually has some kind of a box where I've got to check race and or ethnicity. So in our present day lives here in America, can't speak for other countries, but here in America, you can't get away from it. You can't get away from it. There's no way out of it. It just is. And so to see these people, all of them friends, many of them I've known for a bunch of years, some of which I've known for decades, come from this place of, well, you're not that tribe, is, it's disheartening. It's disheartening. Because I didn't get a choice. I was born this way. In this life experience, in this place, in this time, I was born this way. And I'm going to die this way whenever that day comes. So it's not something that is perception. Because as long as you got working eyesight, you can see that by present day standards, yeah, I'm black. But for some reason, that acceptance with other people of other groups as part of their processing, as part of their accepting, I lose my blackness. And then what makes that worse is because they don't see that, then they don't see that I have the same experience as black people all around the country. That those same horrible things that have happened to them and can happen to them do and can happen to me, and many of which have. But they don't believe that because, well, you're not them. You're not them. That wouldn't happen to you. It has happened to me. It has. And the concept of, in order to be part of you, I can no longer be part of me. I'm having to come to terms with that. I'm having to come to terms with that. And in that regard, these conversations have been very useful because as this comes up again and again and again and again and again, it forces me to take a position. It forces me to voice that position, affirm that position, and say, here's where I want to go, here's where I want us all to go. But we can't do that if we can't be honest about where we are right now. And where I am right now is I am this, I am that, I am the other. I've always had issues and challenges with this concept of race that we hold on to here. Unfortunately, it just seems to be the original American fetish, and it really hasn't gotten much better. You know, we, for whatever reason, as diverse as we are hung up on this concept of race and ethnicity. And I hope the day comes where that's no longer the case, but it is the case now. And so I've got to reconcile for me and then convey that truth to others that I'll still work toward that goal of one race because that's the dream. But in the meantime, in the present, I am who I am. And whether it be for comfort's sake, acceptance sake, or someone else's perspective, I will not have other aspects of my identity, of who I am in this present day, time, and place, taken away for their benefit. I'm not going to be incognegro anymore. So, if you accept me, you will accept all of me. And if you don't, that's your prerogative. I think that was an answer long in coming. And I don't know that I ever really formed the question, but it is definitely an answer. And so I felt like sharing. I'm sure there'll be more, And I look forward to sharing that with myself and sharing that with you. So, in the meantime, have a great day and God bless.